I was put on the earth to fight.
This is a Getting Back Up podcast.
The city fights back. And I think you just inherit that as you grow up here.
Never giving up until you achieve the thing you want most in the world.
What he gave me is an unbelievable engine and an unbelievable amount of belief in myself.
Yeah.
I'm as much black as I am white, so how do I define one or the other? I'm just me, mate. A mixed race. I'm as proud as being black as I am as being white. The first time grief hits us, I remember just sobbing for days.
That's why people, I think, care about you so much, and they got invested on the journey because you are that normal dude. Hey everyone, and welcome to the very first episode of Getting Back Up with me, Anthony Ogogo. The Getting Back Up podcast is a podcast where I talk to amazing people with inspiring stories, people that have achieved great things in both their lives and careers, but only after suffering massive setback and adversity. For those that don't know, I'm a former boxer. My boxing career peaked at the London 2012 Olympic Games when I won a bronze medal for myself and Team GB. I then turned pro, and I was this close, a whisker away from achieving all my dreams and becoming a world champion. And in just one punch, my whole life changed. My eye socket was fractured. I went on to have 9 surgeries on my eye in the next 3 years that I tried desperately to keep my boxing career alive. It's no avail. I was forced to retire, and I'm now 78% blind in my left eye. Losing boxing, losing everything I had, I sunk to a deep, dark depression. I went through my own really, really dark times. And then this time, I looked for inspiration everywhere. After years of trials and tribulations, I was able to, brick by brick, rebuild myself to doing what I do now. I'm now a professional wrestler for AEW in the US. I'm very much living a second childhood dream, and it's amazing. But that's why I wanted to create the Getting Back Up podcast, to give everybody out there who's struggling some inspiration to realize that they can rebuild, they can come back, they can get back up and live the life they want to live. Our first guest on the Getting Back Up podcast doesn't get much bigger. We've got a British boxing legend, Tony the Bomber Bellew. Now, he did everything in the world of boxing. A 3-time ABA champion, British, Commonwealth, European, and WBC Cruiserweight champion of the world. We talked to Bellew about all the big nights, the world title win, and all the tough times, the setbacks, the knockout losses. We talked to the man behind the boxer. We talked to Anthony Bellew. He goes into detail about growing up in Liverpool in the 80s as a mixed-race kid. Bellew talks openly about his dad being in prison. He talks about loss, suffering, and setback. We cover all those dark times and, of course, the big, explosive knockout wins. Tony is such an inspirational man, and I'm sure you can agree. He drops so many nuggets of inspiration. So listen up, learn from this great man. Let's get stuck in. Tony, good to see you, mate.
You too, mate. Great to catch up and see it. It's been a while.
I'm proud to call you a friend.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you.
Goes both ways.
But I'm proud of the way your career blossomed, and like you winning the world title at the end and making your family financially secure. Mate, it's an honour to have you as a mate and an honour to have you today on the podcast.
Thank you very much. I wish I could look at myself the way you've just described me. I don't ever look at myself like that. I just look at myself as a normal lad who was willing to go through anything to get what he wanted to get, and pushed it to the very, very limit. And then that's the only reason why I achieved what I achieved. But thanks very much, mate. You was around when we was just young lads travelling the world, going around boxing for England, being in some of the worst places in the world, some of the worst digs in the world, and getting punched by some of the best fighters in the world, mate, to heap the more trouble and more pain on it. So thanks very much.
Very welcome, mate. But I think that that everyday bloke that you see yourself as, that's where the humility comes from. That's why people, I think, care about you so much, and they got invested on the journey because you are that normal dude.
Yeah.
Look,
I don't ever profess to be anything. I mean, just because I don't look at myself as being, because of what I've done or because of what I've achieved, as being any different than anyone else. I'm no different. Me, what I've done doesn't define who I am. What I've got doesn't shape who I am. I'm just a normal lad, mate, and who's basically lived out his lifelong dream of that one night at Goodison Park. And when I think about boxing, I think about that now. So, yeah, I look back with fond memories, but at the same time, I don't believe I'm anything special. What I achieved and what you've been through and what you've achieved, anyone can do it. It's just how much do you want it? How much are you willing to persevere through pain and dark times and hard times? Because we've all got them. We've all had them. It's just how much do you want to get out of them?
it's what you do when you're literally like us, but metaphorically, like most people, when you're lying flat out on your back, looking up at the lights. It's what you do in that moment that dictates what kind of life you'll live and if you achieve your dreams or not, right? So listen, I hurt my eye in 2016, and when I had to retire from boxing, the one thing I truly loved, I couldn't bury my head in the sand far enough, right? So I didn't watch much boxing at all from 2016 onwards, and there's a couple of guys I kind of kept an eye out for, you being one of them. And I remember when you retired, vaguely, and correct me if I'm wrong, you vaguely said something like Tony Bellew, the boxer, that persona is done now.
It's dead.
And now you're going back to Anthony Bellew, the man. And I love that. And today, listen, I want to talk to Tony Bellew today, the boxer. I want to talk about the wins, the knockouts, Echo Arena, O2, Goodison Park, the knockout wins, knockout losses. But I also want to talk to Anthony Bellew today.
Okay.
Because, the man behind the myth, behind the legend, the brother, the son, the father, the brother-in-law, because to me, that man is every bit as inspiring as the man that we all cheered for in the ring on fight night.
Okay.
I don't think people have delved too much into him.
No one knows him because no one gives a shit about him, to be totally honest.
But listen, the thing is, I think that's what you think. People do. I do.
Yeah.
And this isn't a boxing podcast or even a sporting podcast. This is a getting back up podcast. This, like you said earlier, this is a never giving up until you achieve the thing you want most in the world. And that's what this is all about. And you've got an unbelievable story. And because your story is so unbelievable, I want to kind of give each chapter of it the respect it deserves. So where I'd like to go with this podcast, and obviously, I like to talk, you like to talk, we might go with a massive tangent. So, 15 years old.
Yeah.
A little chubby kid, in your own words.
Yeah, definitely, mate. A fat kid. I was chubby came after I lost a bit of fat. I loved football so much. I was a mad Everton fan. I dreamed of being a footballer at 12 years old, but I just wanted to be any Everton player. I just wanted to be like Peter Beard, who was brilliant. There was just loads of players playing for us who I idolised and looked up to. And I just thought, I want to be a footballer. But in hindsight, in reality, it's, you're just not good enough. I was too fat and not good enough. Top and bottom of it, mate.
But let's say you had been good enough, right? Like, you have got a violent streak in you, right? Yeah. An angry streak in you, just as myself. And football, as I said earlier, I thought football, cut the mustard for me, but it didn't. Wasn't until I started boxing and I could channel this anger. Because I had a difficult upbringing and I was an angry kid. And all of a sudden, normally at school when I was fighting, I got in trouble. I got red carded, I got sent home from school, I got expelled. And now, all of a sudden, I'm punching people and getting commended.
Yeah.
And well done. And now it's like, I thought, is this legal? Fuck, you're nuts. And I'll do it. Now, listen, mate, tell me if I'm wrong, but football, you were born to be a boxer, surely. That violent streak.
I think I was put on the earth to fight. I definitely think that much. At first, when I was just chasing wanting to be a footballer and living the dream, no. But then I get to a stage in my life where I'm expelled from school and that's the path that I take. So I understood and I knew I was good at it. I just knew. I watched it from a young age. I always studied it from the outside. So I was like, I loved Mike Tyson. I loved Nigel.
What age is this? When you started boxing?
I started kickboxing first. So I was playing football, enjoying doing that. Wanted to just be a footballer, and then at some stage, I think it must have been about 12, 13, my dad takes me on pads. And I used to see my dad shadow box, and he'd go out and he'd jog, and he'd take us to Sefton Park. When he'd get back, he'd finish off with like 10 minutes of shadow boxing. And I'd be like, what are you doing that for?
Did he do a bit, your dad?
He boxed, he had 2 amateur fights. First one he won. Second one, a fellow was jabbing his face off. This is from the stories that I'm told. Jabbed his face off. At the end of the first round, he goes back to his corner, picks up the stool, and attacks the guy with the stool.
So that explains everything.
That was the end of my dad's boxing career. So, yeah, it was difficult for him. My dad's someone who, he can fight. My dad can have a fight. My dad ran Liverpool's nightlife in the city centre for the best part of 10 years.
This podcast is brought to you in partnership with Ogogo Fitness. Ogogo Fitness is my brand new fitness app I'll be launching really, really soon. I've created this app so I truly want to help people. I believe everybody should have the right to exercise and be fit and be healthy. I've brought this to the world to promote physical health and mental health. I've designed 60 preset 7-minute workouts ranging in difficulty from round 1, which is pretty easy, to round 12, which is really, really challenging. As well as that, I've got my personal workout builder. I've created 50 different exercises, and you have the choice to create your own playlist from the 50 different workouts, which gives you an option of over 80 million combinations of workouts. 80 million. So from your Ogogo Fitness app, you can literally choose from millions and millions and millions of workouts personalized for you and what you're training for. So head over to ogogofitness.com, register your interest, and be the first to know when Ogogo Fitness is launching. So when you started at 15, did you love the sport immediately?
I had my first fight at 15, which is quite late. Those would have been earlier, but yeah, 15, I had my first bout. From the first bout, yes, I loved it, but there was a build-up before then. So before I had my first bout, I went to a gym. I went into Kirkdale ABC, done one session.
Perkins.
Kirkho's gym, yeah. Joey Ainscough was there. Yeah. Went into this gym. It was at the time, I think it was on, it's a community fireplace now there where it used to, what it is now, but it used to be just like, you go up the stairs, on the second floor was a boxing gym and a boxing ring, and everyone would be running around sweating as you do. That smell was there. I went there, done one session, I didn't like it. I just thought, no, don't like it.
What about it did you not like? That's what I love, that swing. That the smell.
I didn't mind the environment. I just didn't like. I don't want to say the people because that sounds wrong. Because I didn't know them. I just didn't. There's something about it I didn't like. It didn't sit with me right. So I left there. I said to my dad, I said, "Do you want to go back to another boxing gym, try somewhere else?" And I said, "Oh, I'm not sure." So I left it for a few weeks. A few weeks went by. I went into this town. I went into Rotunda ABC. Walked into Rotunda ABC. Now, I've been doing boxing sessions at the 051 gym. I've been doing boxing sessions with me dad in the yard. I wish we had a fucking garden. In the yard. At this stage, my dad had left home. So I was seeing my dad like every few days. And when I'd see him, we'd do stuff and we'd play and we had nice times. But I was just doing things to make up the time. And when he says to me, "Do you want to go to this boxing gym?" I thought, I tried one, do one, try another. Went to Rotunda ABC. I come across a guy called Jimmy Albertina. Mm-hmm. And I walked in and I thought, well, if I want to go to a boxing gym, I just want to fight. I don't really want to go to all this training stuff and the running and all that. I didn't like it. So, goes in the gym and Jimmy puts me on a bag. He says, "Just hit that bag, let me have a look." Bang, 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 bang. I'm hitting the bag, double left hooks. I could throw up.
And you're a big kid at 15,
yeah,
right?
I'm a lump.
Yeah,
mate, I'm a lump. I'm a proper lump. I had a big ass on me, but I could really fight. And he just went, "Right, who did you box for?" And I said, "I haven't boxed for no one." He said, "Don't lie to me." He said, "There's no point in lying to me. I'll find out." He said, "Who have you boxed for?" I said, "I've never had a bout in my life." He said, "No one hits a bag like that without having a bout." And I said, "Well, my dad showed me how to punch a bag and this and that." And he went, "No, you've had a bout." I said, "I haven't." I said, "I'll just answer me this. When can I have a bout?" And he said to me, "Listen, lad, you don't fucking ask me when you're going to have a bout. 12 to 18 months, I think you'll be ready." On that note, I was like, "See you after. I've had enough of this. I'm off." Left there. This was the second gym I left. I leave there and I go to a place called Stockbridge ABC. I meet a guy who was working on the door for me dad at the time called Mark Kinney. I walk into his gym. He puts me on a bag. Same again, "Let's have a look at you. Let's see what you can do." Bang, bang, bang. Takes me on pads. Bang, bang, bang. Everything's flying. And he was like, "I can't believe you never had a bout." I said, "When can I have a bout?" He said, "You'll be fighting within a few weeks." And I was like, "Really?" And he went, "Yep." Next session I went back, I was sparring. Session after that, like there was no stand there, learn this jab, learn the right hand technique. I could just do it. And it's from watching guys like your Mike Tyson's, your Roy Jones Jr.'s, fighters like that, I was like, I admired. I would watch the Olympic Games, I would watch fighters and various people, and I would just keep studying because I liked watching boxing. I just didn't like the training side of it. I didn't want to kill myself day in, day out. So, yeah, I once walked into Stockbridge and was with Mark. The bouts came pretty quickly in France.
Oh, you started there? You started boxing?
My first fight was at Stockbridge.
Gotcha.
See, so people really think I was a Rotunda all the way through. I had 4 fights at Stockbridge ABC. Fight a guy called Rob Beecher, my first ever amateur fight at the Hayden Suite for Stockbridge ABC. I'd been boxing now for 4 weeks, maybe 6 tops. I'd been into Stockbridge ABC and gets in the ring. I've only ever been nervous for 2 fights in my life. This was one of them. I got to the scales, the weighed in. I think it was like a weigh-in of 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. And I'd never knew what an amateur weigh-in was. I'd never been to an amateur show before. It's the first time I'd ever been to an amateur boxing show and seen what happened. Guys seeing the doctor, gets on the scales, and everyone in the gym at this stage is thinking, people thought I was far more advanced and had bouts than I had. And even the lads in the gym, before they even had a bout, they were like, this kid can really fight. And I was like, I haven't had a fight yet. You don't know what the fuck I can do. And I turned up at the weigh-in, and this kid had a hairy chest. That's the most thing I remember. This Rob Beach had a hairy chest, and I barely had any fluff on my bollocks, never mind chest. And I remember looking at him and thinking, how am I going to fight him? He had a hairy face, mate. There wasn't a fucking speck of it. I didn't even have any sort of mustache. Now, I was a late developer. I remember looking at him thinking, what is going on? Mark, he said, don't worry, you know, he's had 2 bouts, he's won 1, lost 1, he's like you. And I was like, he's not like, he's a man. I was like, I'm 15. And at that age, I think it's 15 to 17, it's cadet age.
Yeah.
Well, he was on the back end of 17, and I'm a young 15, and I'm thinking the difference here is massive. But when you looked at us aesthetically, physically, you'd think he is a bit of a man, and this kid's a chubby fat kid.
Yeah.
My first fight was at 13 stone, 8 pound, if I remember correctly. So just around 90 kilos.
Yeah.
Or it might have been, about 86, anywhere between 86 and 90 kilos, whatever it was. And
at that weight, sorry to butt in, so my first fight was 51 kilos when I was 12, right? So I stopped the kid and take him around, took him to the hospital.
Foss.
Yeah, mate, honestly, my first 3 fights knocked them all out. I was a killer. But like when you're 12, you shouldn't really be able to hit that hard.
No.
But when you're 15 and 90 kilos, mate, it hurts, right? So like, just remember, so when I was 12, first I was sparring, you get hit and you don't really get hurt, but you get like shocked because you get hit for the first time ever. But when you get hit at 90 kilos, it hurts, right? Like you feel, you know you're getting hit.
Now that I think back, it was 86 kilos, but yeah, I was walking around at 90 kilos. I remember having fish fingers for a week to get down from 90 to 86. That's what's just come back to my mind now. Yeah, you know what? Getting hit never bothered me in my whole of my life. Like, you see kids have a fight in school, or they go, right, come on, it's me and you, let's do this. And you'd see the nerves, or someone offers you out, you go after school, you've had it. And I'd see my mates, like, I'd see it happen and they'd go missing. Like, they'd phone their mum, or I feel sick coming from school.
Take the other exit.
Yeah, take the other exit.
Where's he gone? Where's Bobby gone?
And I'd be like, if someone would offer me, I'd go, sound, I'm looking forward to this. It would excite me, genuinely. They never made me nervous fighting and stuff like that, but I'd say that first fight, I was genuinely nervous purely because I thought, I'm fighting a man and I'm still a boy. Went in the ring anyway, and it was windmills. The two of us just went crazy swinging windmills. I forgot all about the jab, the straight right hand, the left hook, the body, all the things I was doing in the gym that were impressing everyone. I was picking shots to the body, I was picking shots to the head. I just went in and lost me rag, just started swinging. He cops me, I copped him. Thankfully enough, a right hook comes round the side in the 3rd round, clips him on the chin and boom, he's down. So my first fight was a knockout win. And
then you fell in love?
I enjoyed it. I liked it. I liked the feeling of I can knock someone out. I'd actually done it. I'd dropped people in the gym sparring, and I thought, I wonder what you're doing after you dropped them. Because you dropped them in the gym when you're sparring, it's like, oh, okay, give them a rest. Let's wait. In a fight, it's like drop them, go and finish them. And I enjoyed that part of it. After that, I think 3 or 4 weeks later, I had my second bout against a guy, and I do remember this one called Ryan Connolly. And my friends knew who he was. I never knew who he was. He was from the area. He's supposed to be a bit of an hard case. Once again, 18 months older than me or so. And this time I could choose me walkout music. And I was top of the bill on the amateur bill in my second amateur fight. And it was just like, this is mad. As I'm walking out, I've got rap music on. I forget the song that I had on, but it was something, motherfuck this, bitch that, kill this. I'm going to do that, do this. I've walked out and 20 seconds have gone by. I've done it 1-2, missed. He's thrown a jab. I've stepped to the side, 29 seconds, one right hand, boom, hits him on the chin, flat on his back, out like a light. And then that's when the extravagant stuff starts coming in there. I was getting on ropes. I am the best you lot ever see in here. I am a monster. I am an animal. Yous have never seen nothing like me. The coach would come in, Mark Kinney's having, get out, fucking making a show of yourself. And yeah, that's where it was born there from. That it was the first clean knockout I got. Because I'll say the first one at the beach, I've stopped him on his feet. I've dropped him, but then he's got up and the referee's, that's enough. This one, it's a whack on the button.
He's done.
He's out.
Yeah.
He ain't getting up. Yeah. He's out like a light.
Count to 100.
Yeah, he was done. This puts it into context now. I was sparring a fighter called Gary Lockett. I'd only had 2 bouts and I was sparring Gary Lockett and he hit me.
Welsh
body shot, yep, the Welshman, fought for the middleweight title.
Yeah, good fight, real good fighter, yeah.
I was sparring him after 2 amateur fights and he said, you are way, way advanced for where you should be. He said, I know I'm middleweight and you're at this stage, I'm now a light heavyweight. I've lost a bit more weight. And he says to me, you don't understand how far advanced you are, you shouldn't be able to keep with me. Well, this day, he touched me with an uppercut and went smack into me ribs. Didn't drop me, but straight away I felt a pain. And I was like, ooh, good shot, but he was like, come on, let's keep going. We were flying and banging away at him. And 3 or 4 days later, I had a bout. I was sparring. It was my last spar before I was going to box. Gets in the ring. Cunliffe. His name was Cunliffe from Wigan ABC. Well, I don't know. Fuck, that's just come back to me. In amateur boxing, you never get ready for a body shot because very few fighters comes out, he's got a guard like this, typical amateur style, throws the jab and was whacked with a right hand right in my rib where Gary Lockett had bruised. And he cracked me rib. So I've still got the chicken rib, sticks out to this day. Goes back the corner, says to Mark, Mark, I think he's broke me rib. Mark says, what do you mean? I said, I feel it's a weird feeling. He has to lift up my vest, lifts up the vest. There was like a circle of blood under the skin.
Ooh.
And I was like, that's sore. So the fella down in the corner, he's going, stop the fight. You know, this is dangerous. I said, shut up, you. I said, you haven't got a clue. I said, Mark, just give me 1 round. I said, I'll get rid of this kid in this round. Thankfully enough, once again, it goes out and it stops this kid on his feet. I was nailed him with the right hand. He's completely gone, but he's on his feet now. Done it again. So at this stage now, I'm 3-0. I think I'm on top of the world. It's great. I get scheduled for a 4th fight. I go back to heat waves. I get matched with a boy called James Boyd. I'm sure you will have known, you boxed for England with him. This kid goes on. This year, he wins the ABAs. The full ABAs at light heavyweight. I'm boxing this kid in my 4th amateur fight. Gets in the ring with him and we're back and forth to each other. He's probably outboxing me, but I'm roughing him up and I'm getting close and I'm hitting him. So he's talking to me in the fight and I've never experienced this before. And as I've got my head in close, we're rubbing close and I've whacked him with 2 body shots and he just leaned away and he went and spat in my face.
Oh.
I thought, you absolute scumbag. So the referee didn't do anything about it. So as we get closer again, he's come in and I've just gone smash as hard as I possibly could with me forehead right into his nose. He jumps back and the referee just said, get out. He just threw me out the ring, yeah. The referee threw me out. So he disqualifies me. And my coach at the time says, you were, a part of him knew I was right. From one spits in your face, it's like, I should have kicked him really, to be honest. But I didn't. I butted him. And when the referee saw me out, so I looked at Mark and I was like, what am I supposed to do in these kind of situations? Time goes on and I was fuming, I was furious, but at that stage...
What, furious at yourself, at him, at the situation?
At him, I suppose when I look back, I'm the idiot who rose to it. But it's only hindsight where you can go back and look and think that...
And at the time you were a kid, right?
Yeah.
Kid, so you're...
At the time I was 16.
Yeah, a baby.
Yeah, like 16, early 17. And I was like, that's not for me. Yeah, 17 I was. So I've boxed quite a few times now. So at 17, it's like, what am I going to do? And then Mark Kinney, the coach at the time, was head coach of Stockbridge ABC, says he gets a job in Jaguar. Now, this is where the change comes. He gets this job in Jaguar, and at this stage now, I've had 4 amateur fights. It's mad because most of Liverpool know me after 4 amateur fights because I'm the lunatic who knocks people out and shouts and screams, he's the best ever. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. I was outspoken, I was loud. And Mark gets this job in Jaguar, and he works shifts. So he works at 2 till 8. So that means he can't train me for 1 week. He works, say, 6 till 2. That week he can work, he can train me in that week. And then the final one is an 11 or 11 till 6 in the morning, something like that. So 2 shifts a week, 2 weeks out of the 4, he can't train me. And I'm like, he was a brilliant coach, by the way, fantastic. Went on to do great things with the UFC, coaching Michael Bisping with boxing, Rampage Jackson with boxing. He's a great fellow who I'm still in touch with today. And he just said, I've got to take this job on. He said, this is what I'm going to do. I said, okay, Sam, no problem. With my tail between my legs, I goes back to Rotunda ABC. And I was like, I've had a few bouts now. Can I come back? And Jimmy was like, I'll let you know if you can come back. Do a few weeks. Let's see if you can keep up with the training. Mark Kinney's words when he spoke to Jimmy was, this lad is going to be an ABA champion. I will guarantee it. He'll probably be a world champion. He could say that after 4 amateur fights. How he knew that, I don't know. He says also, he'll do anything you ask him to do when it comes to boxing. But try and get him to turn up for a run. Try and get him to do circuits. Try and get him to live by a diet. You're going to have a problem. So upon Mark telling Jimmy that, I had to do twice as much running and twice as many circuits. Fucking absolute horror. But going to Rotunda at this stage then, that changed everything for me. That's when I started to... It was only under Jimmy Albertina that I believed I could become something in boxing.
Yeah. He was, I never met him, but I've heard you talk very highly about him and all the boys in Rotunda and girls.
Yeah.
Special man, right? Special man.
Amazing. I couldn't put into words how amazing he was. His sons now run. I'm at Rotunda ABC, Michael and James, but just an amazing man. He saved so many lives.
Yeah.
In the north end of Liverpool, where we are off Scotty Road, it's a tough place. And Jimmy kept us all on the straight and narrow. Yeah. Every single one of us. Them 4 walls have saved so many lives. And the man inside them 4 walls, I should say, that was a big, huge factor was down to him.
I get tingles when hearing that because there's people, success. People think success is winning medals or winning belts or earning a lot of money. Success is keeping that kid from being in prison for stabbing somebody, giving him some structure, letting him believe in himself, self-respect, respect for other people. That's success. And as I said, never met the man, but I've heard you talk so highly of him, and sound like a great man.
The greatest person I've ever had time to spend with. I don't feel his name is spoken about enough in our city and highly enough. There should be a statue of Jimmy Albertina for what he's created and what he achieved. He was amazing, mate. He really was.
So him, I wasn't going to talk about this, but it's brought up. Him, obviously, unfortunately passing away. Was that obviously a massive setback for yourself?
That's the first time I feel proper despair. That's the first time I feel grief, I think, in my life.
How old were you?
Looking back when Jimmy passed away, probably 19, 20.
So you're still a young man, still moldable.
That was hard. When Jimmy passed away, that's the first time grief hits us as a gym. I remember Paul Smith phoning me and saying, Jimmy's dead. And I was like, what are you talking about? And he was like, Jimmy's dead. He told me on the phone. I remember just sobbing for days and days, mate. That was the first time.
What you said a minute ago earlier that when you left Stockbridge and went to Rotunda, Jimmy Albertina was the first person that made you believe that you could do something and be something. Now, Jimmy instilled that in you. Now, what did he do to make you believe in yourself that you could do something? Now, what was that something?
What Jimmy done is push me to levels and limits that I never knew I could get to.
Yeah.
I never believed I could. I knew that I worked hard, I was willing to train, but I was always training to a point where I was within myself. Yeah. If that makes sense. I wasn't getting pushed to the moment. I'd never been pushed at this stage to the point of spewing up in training. I'd never ran at a speed or done certain things to get me to the stage of I can't breathe, literally cannot breathe. Yeah. And I got them feelings at Rotunda. And when I'd surpass them moments and get through them, I would get there again, and this time I would be a little bit further than I was the previous time. And this kept happening over and over again. But it happened in such a quick succession at Rotunda that I didn't look back. So my first bout for Rotunda, straight away, I'm in at Everton Park. They stuck me in the Novice Championships, the under-10s. At this stage, I've only had 4 bouts. I goes in, and I just renders the kid unconscious. It was just, I'd been at a good level, and people were looking at me thinking, this kid's really good. When I went there, I became completely something different. Yes, I could always box. I'm not going to say, like, Jimmy to me is this great punch overnight, because that's not how it worked. What he gave me is an unbelievable engine and an unbelievable amount of belief in myself.
Yeah. Which is key, right? Which is key to anything in life. Being successful, you need to believe in yourself. And you've displayed, like, enormous amounts of belief when others didn't believe in your career, and that was obviously instilled in that pivotal time of your life.
That was the perfect time. It was him who instilled that belief in me, because I worked so hard under him that I was like, no one's working as hard as me.
So coaches don't just teach you the jab, and in any sport, but coaches don't just teach you the jab or the backhand or the uppercut. They teach you things about yourself, don't they? Like, the great coaches teach you that you can do this.
Without doubt, he was a father figure to many of us. Now, my dad, I had a brilliant father. Yes, he left home when I was 10, but he was still a big, massive part of my life. But Jimmy was like, he give you things that your father wouldn't give you. So my dad would never tell me I'm great or I'm this or I'm that, but I knew he thought it. And what my dad wanted to have was the hardest kid on the block. And to be fair, like, it ended up working out. He got the fucking hardest kid on the block.
So, mate, unbelievable amateur career.
Yeah. I've never spoke about it in that depth.
Yeah, listen, mate, I enjoyed that.
Great.
I wanted this to be more of a life podcast, but hearing you talk so passionately about it, and me remembering it myself, is like, they were great times.
Amateur boxing was brilliant. We were a team. We went around the world. We had a good laugh. Being in camps, being in dorms, being in hotels together. It was amazing. But that changes, mate, as you know, when you turn professional.
It does. It becomes the business.
Yeah.
It's not a sport anymore.
It's not they're not teammates no more. People become jealous and think that you're getting given things that you're not, that you've had to earn. And yeah, everyone forgets, mate.
So I want to talk to you about some stuff I don't think I've heard you talk about before, right? So, mate, growing up, Tony Bellew in Liverpool in the 80s, like, what was that like? Because, like me, as I said earlier, you've got a lot of similarities. You're mixed race.
Yeah. Mum's black, dad's white.
And people, I don't think everyone, for example, I was talking to some friends 2 days ago, and I said, I'm doing a podcast about you on next week. And so I want to kind of go a bit deep, not just the general, like, oh, knock them out. I said, I want to talk about race.
Okay.
And my mate, PJ, is mixed race.
Yeah.
My mate, Dave, is white. And PJ went, the black one, he went, why? I went, because Bo's mixed race. And he went, is he? He had no idea. And as flummoxed, fucking weird word. Never said that word before in my entire life.
What does that mean?
As baffled, as confused. I've never said it before in my entire life.
Flummoxed?
As baffled as he was by you being mixed race, Dave was equally baffled that he didn't know you were mixed race. So he was like, oh, he's definitely mixed. So I was like, so growing up in Liverpool, mate, like in the 80s, like from a mixed marriage, black mum, white dad, that's very uncommon. Because my dad was Nigerian, he came over from Africa. In my little small town where I'm from in Lowestoft, generally, he was the first black person most people had ever seen, like in real life, right? And I can't imagine Liverpool being too diverse back then. What was it like growing up?
I've always wondered what it's like. I've done a podcast not long ago with a guy called David Howard. He's an actor, and I wanted to speak to him because his thing is a lot about race, and he's born very similar times to my mother. So I've never spoke to him about what racism is like for you growing up. You just go on day-to-day life, don't you? Don't really speak about this. So I wanted to speak to him to kind of find out what my mother's youth might have been like. And it's obviously very tough for someone like me.
Was your mum born here?
Yes, my mum was born here. So my granddad came over here. He was in America. He was in the American Navy. And he come over here, was already married, little knows of my lovely little grandmother. Come over here, impregnated me, now married her while he was also married in the States. And then fucked off back to the States after he'd finished. So Yeah, me grand.
We shouldn't laugh, mate.
Hey,
Fuck
shouldn't
it,
laugh.
mate.
It's fucking, it's a man in it. He's a man and he's fucked up. But he never got to see me granddad. Now, it's mad because my name is obviously Bellew, and that's from my dad's side, and they're a white Irish. My name originates from a place called Mount Bellew, so I'm told. But my mother's side were native Indians. So yeah, my granddad's like navy blue. He's that black. Well, he was. He passed away now. So, I mean, my mum's white. So, yeah, I'm mixed race. People growing up in Liverpool, the south of Liverpool's pretty mixed. There's large parts of south of Liverpool that are predominantly black, whereas north of Liverpool, where the boxed, is predominantly white. Very few brothers in the north end of the city. In the south end, we're everywhere. And people always, it's mad because growing up in the south end, I think the black lads looked at me as if I was white, and the white people looked at me as if I was black.
Yeah. That's why it's odd, right? Similar to myself. Like, I'm mixed race, black dad, white mum. And it's an odd little fucking little pigeonhole we sit in. We're not quite white, we're not quite black, but what is it?
What are you?
Did you struggle with that? Like,
I think...
Did you want to fit into one category, or were you happy just being Tony Bellew?
You do and you don't. I don't... You just are what you are. So I figured out I loved rap music. I always wanted a gold chain. So at a certain age, I went out and bought myself a fucking big, thick gold chain. I wanted nice things, but is that the black side of me? Is that the white side of me? I don't know. It's just, I stopped looking at it as a black or a white thing. It's just me. It's the way I am. So yeah, I don't care who I identify with or who relates me to what am I. I like to think I'm just a decent person. I don't give a shit. Black, white, pink, yellow. Like me little brother is gay. Now,
and come on to this.
Trust me, mate. He had it tough because he's a shade darker than you. Now, being black and being gay in the fucking late 80s, early 90s, that's a fucking hard ride. It really, really is. Especially when my father is who he was, is known as a hard man. That's very tough. So race has played it's part of my life. Like, when I've heard racism, like going to the North End and being around boxing and stuff like that, I'd hear all the jokes, the or that or this and that, and they'd be like, some of them would say in front of me and feel comfortable, but then you'd have to get in the boxing ring with me and I'd knock the fuck out of you, and I'd absolutely hate you. And then other people, like there's racism goes on both sides, believe it or not. I know everyone likes to say it's white on black all the time, but listen, it's black on white also. I've seen that go down on a number of occasions. I've seen lads get fucking given hidings because you're in the wrong area at the wrong time. So it goes both ways. It really, really does. But for me, I don't identify with either. I'm just I'm just me, mate. I really am. As you know, I think my sister-in-law refers to me as being black. She'll say, "You're black to me," and I'll go, "Well, that sound." I say, "But I'm just me. I'm as much black as I am white. So how do I define one or the other? I'm just me, mate. I'm mixed race. I'm as proud as being black as I am as being white."
Man, another similarity we've got. So my sister is also gay. She's married a woman, and I actually conducted the wedding. I married them both to each other, which is one of the proudest moments of my life. And having a gay sister has made me a better person because, like yourself, like, I don't give a fuck who you are, what you look like, who your God is, if you got a God, if you haven't got a God, who you have sex with. As long as you're a decent person, then I don't give a fuck, like, do it. But it made me more of an understanding person because, like, knowing that my sister, what she went through growing up, confused, always knowing she was lesbian, but she kind of had boyfriend because she thought that's what she was meant to do.
Yeah.
That made me a better, more understanding, humble person.
Okay.
I think similar for yourself?
For me, it was different because my little brother, we knew he was gay at probably 11 years of age, which was very difficult because, like, our Liam is not someone who's hiding gay. Like, you hear on Liam before you fucking see him. You know, he's loud, he's out there, he is, mate. That's the way he is. But so that was tough.
And you said being black as well.
Yeah.
In that time.
I'm sure that didn't fucking help the fucking matter as well. So, yeah, he's been called every single thing under the sun that you could possibly imagine. My dad tried absolutely everything with him, from trying him in private schools. He had a really good voice as a singer as a kid. He could dance, he could sing, all that kind of shit he could do. And then when my dad goes to jail for the second time, the private school stops, and then he goes to a normal school, and then that's when the trouble starts. And when your fella's locked up and then you're the fucking man of the house because my elder two brothers have left, it's tough. You know, you're fighting all the time. That's why I say I didn't choose fighting. Fighting definitely chose me. I was put on this earth to fight, mate. Because when you put in them situations, your dad's in jail, your two elder brothers, one's living, not living at home, the other one's gone to university. It's fight season, mate, and you fight to defend your brother.
I've heard you talk about your dad a lot, like you said today in other interviews. I haven't heard you talk about your mum that much.
Yeah.
Is that because you feel like you want to protect her, or is that because...
Oh, listen, my mum doesn't need protecting, mate. She's a sister who can fight. No, I just
That's the tagline.
Yeah.
A sister who can fight. Fucking love that.
My mum's my mum, you know what I mean? She's just, she does what she does.
You always say, like, you often talk about how tough your dad is. Right? Yeah. So you want to be like your dad or impress your dad because he's tough, he ran the doors in town. But your mum, like, you're one of the toughest blokes I know, right? Mentally, physically. But do you get that from your dad or your mum? Because what your mum went through, you know, being a black woman in Liverpool in the 60s, 70s and 80s, like, fuck, she would have been 100%, like, should have seen some shit, heard some shit, and she must have been, like, a tough woman to get through that.
She's heard and seen it all. She's got a story. She's been through an awful lot, mate. And I say, when my dad fucks about and leaves when I'm 10 years old, she's...
Raising 4 boys on her own.
Yeah, raising 4.
One of them being you.
Me being the second to youngest, it was tough. It really was. You know, it was very, very hard times. I'd say that. But don't get me wrong, my father was not someone like a father who's fucked off and left, and he still provides every single day. So she never has to worry about bills or paying for things, because my dad sorts that. But the loneliness of being on her own was hard, man. You know, your mum's every night sitting there listening to Whitney Houston songs and cries herself to sleep on a couch, which is fucking tough. And that goes on for 2 years. And at this stage now, my brothers have not fed up of listening to it, but we're all, you know, but it's so hard. I couldn't imagine the time that she went through to get through that period in her life. Very, very hard. And my dad caused that, but what can you do? There's nothing you can do. But she's a tough woman, mate. She really is. She worked the jobs for Liverpool City Council as a receptionist in the sports centres. She's been racially abused numerous times in that sports centre. I remember one instance, a man, a big fellow with ginger hair, come in and called her every get under the sun. And there was a man behind the desk with me mother, and he let it go. He wouldn't come out to him. And this fellow was a black guy like my mum. I've known him. He's a friend of the family for a long time. He should have went out and filmed me.
100%, yeah.
But he didn't. He let it ride. This fellow called me mother every single name under the sun. This guy was someone. This guy was a local big drug dealer, or so I'm told. And because my mum wouldn't let him into the gym for some reason, he labelled, called it every racial name under the sun. Well, this man then turned up at my dad's nightclub where he was running the door on a Saturday night. And thought he was going to put it on my fella as well. He had a nasty outcome. He was left in a...
He got his comeuppance.
He was left in a real bad way, and his car was taken off. He was that cocky and confident. He drove up to the front of the nightclub, jumped out his car, let's have it. My fella's give him an absolute hide. So the story goes, so I'm told. And my cousin took the 4 wheels off his car and put it on bricks. He smashed his car to bits, and that was the end of that. So these are the kind of situation scenarios that go on in our city. And at this stage, my dad's long left home, but he wouldn't have anyone to solve. Of course, his kid like that. My dad would die for the mother of his kids. My dad still adores my mother. The two of them are apart now, are alone now and apart, and they'll never ever go back together. But my dad still adores me.
Still on that.
It's always his greatest regret. What he done. So I always try and learn from other people's mistakes. My father's greatest regret was what he done from leaving home. So yeah.
There's a great quote, like good people learn from their own mistakes, but great people learn from other people's mistakes. They don't make the mistakes themselves, they learn from people. And you said something,
live by that.
You said something in an interview I watched. You said your dad, he was a great dad, just wasn't that good at the husband stuff.
Yeah.
Which was a great way of putting it. I never heard that before. I thought, that makes sense, you know. He was still great for you and your brothers, but just wasn't great enough. Man, that's good.
Brilliant father, but just shitty husband, mate. You can't keep your dick in your pants, don't get married. But this is life, and you just have to not accept it, but when I look back now, look where it's gone. It's his greatest ever regret. And he lives, you know, got a good life, nice little house, all sorted and done for. Same as my mum, both of them, mortgage free.
Good.
But at the same time, He lives alone, mate, because of the mistakes that he's made. And I hope to never, ever make them mistakes.
Well done, mate. Well done. So, switching gears a little bit, this city, Liverpool, is fucking magical, right? And I come from a small town called Lowestoft, hours away. And like, I used to look at Rotunda and Salisbury and Kirkdale with a lot of envy, right, and jealousy, because I'd look at this and think, the camaraderie you guys have. I've heard you saying, like, you know, you're a Scouser first before anything, right? And like what is it about this city that makes it so magical? Makes it such like a, because there's no place like this in the UK. Places aren't like this in the UK. Like that kind of like the community aspect isn't really there much anymore. But this place has retained it.
A big factor is that we feel like we've been fighting for years, and that draws us closer. So whether it's talking about Hillsborough, whether it's talking about, you know, certain instances that have gone on the chocolate riots, the city fights back. We're not a city that lies down and accepts it. And I think you just inherit that as you grow up here. Being from Liverpool is different from being from anywhere else. I do get that. I understand it. But at the same time, you still have your fucking hate within home here. You still have people saying you can't do it. My whole life I've been told I can't do something. That's the only thing that's driven me from the start to the finish. Fucking hell. I remember my mum saying, why don't you just get the normal job? Because you're too nice. Shit to me, you're not nasty enough.
Did you not watch you fight? Did you not see you?
I'm nasty enough when I get away from it. Trust me, and I don't think she realised how horrible I could be until I left home. Because when I go home, like this the difference what I'm saying. I'm Tony when I'm in boxing environments. When I'm in boxing gyms, I'm Tony. That's just who I am. When I'm in a home or I'm around my own people and my family, I'm Anthony. And I'm always Anthony around my mother. It wasn't until she seen me leave home and become a man, and then that horrible cunt that I can be, that's when she's realised who I am. That's when she's realised I can be that. And I think it took me to leave home, stand on my own too, fight back and forth, wins, losses in the amateurs, for her to realise, you know what, I think that man could do anything he wants to do.
I heard you do an interview a while back, and you said that a three-time ABA champion, and you didn't think you'd ever do that. You didn't think you're ever going to be good enough to do that, right? What happened in that to make you go from doubting your own ability to win a national title to becoming a boxing megastar?
I've got kids now.
They were the drive. That's the drive. And
the motivation, the drive is the kids and the wife. I'm not saying it is no longer good enough. Just talking about it and saying I can do this, I can do that. I've got to do it. That's where that drive. It's different when you have kids. I put them kids on this plan. Didn't ask to be put here. They didn't come here through choice. I put them on this plan and made it my choice to give them the best of what I can possibly give them. So when they're born, it changed absolutely everything. I've always been the hardest worker. I'm not, like you saying before, I could swim, I could run, I could play football. Yeah, I can do all them, but I ain't doing anything that good because I'm not a good athlete. And that's just the top and bottom of it. What I have is an insane desire and determination. I will go further than anyone else. I will fucking hell. The sparring sessions, I would draft in sparring partners who could knock fuck out of me. And you couldn't knock fuck out of me enough where I wouldn't come back the next day. I'm not willing to give in. I'm not willing to back down. And that's just an insane desire and the way I'm driven. I don't know where it comes from.
Yeah,
I think part of it's from me dad and part of it's from my mum. But I know.
Growing up tough and tough stuff.
Yeah, and it's mad because I haven't grown up. Like, I'm not a kid who grew up with nothing. I never went without. I didn't have everything we wanted. No kid does, but I wasn't skint and fuck mate, I was fed. You look at my ass, you fucking knew I was fed, mate. I had decent clothes on my back. My father provided. My mother gave me everything she possibly could. It's just, and I don't know. I don't know where it comes from because there's only so much I see my mother and father. There's a different side to me where I'll do anything to get what I wanted. That's why people say, where would you be if you never boxed? I'd be locked up or dead. The only reason I'm not is because of the kids.
Mate, let's go into the pro career.
Yep.
The exciting, sexy stuff. You turned pro at 27 years old?
Correct.
Man, the mad thing was, when you started your pro career, I was done. I had to retire at 27. That's when I had my eye. So, like, it's fucking nuts, isn't it? It's nuts how everything you did in your boxing career, and You know,
I remember thinking you should have been right next to us because I was late turning pro because I always wanted to go. My plan was to go. I knew I was never good enough to win an Olympic medal. I knew I was never good enough to win a European Championship medal. What I did think I was good enough for was to win a Commonwealth gold. And my plan was to bounce off the back of a Commonwealth gold straight into the pros with
2006.
it. Yeah, that was my plan. And then when I didn't get picked, I was furious. I was reigning ABA champion that year. David Dolan. I could accept that David Dolan got picked over because he beat me twice. But when he got knocked out by Alazar Elkin at the World Championship in Azerbaijan, he got knocked out cold. I got a phone call at the time, and it was off a senior official in England. He says to me, "You're going to Commonwealth Games." And I said, "Really?" He said, "David Dolan's been knocked out bad in the World Championships of Elkin. You'll go to the Commonwealth Games." So I trained like a maniac. I was working really hard. And then when the selection came and they picked Danny Price over me, I knew just because Terry didn't like me.
Yeah.
And Danny was a good fighter.
Yeah, decent.
Danny was a brilliant little boxer. He really, really was. And when we boxed and went on each other, I think he beat me by 1 point in an ABA final. And some will say that's justice, but watch it back and see what you think. But I didn't get picked, and then I lost all love for amateur boxing. I absolutely despised the setup. I hated it. I went against everything that they said and done. I just completely fell out of love with amateur boxing. And then that's when I always knew I was going professional, but I was supposed to be on the back of them games. Stuck around for a bit longer, got an offer off Mick Hennessy, went and met him. Tony Sims arranged once to manage me and train me. And went down, had a chat with him and just thought, I'm earning more staying on the system because I was on the GB funding, and then I was getting extra funding from the Liverpool City Council doing an apprenticeship accountant. And I was just staying and I thought, I've now got, did I have? No, Kobe was on his way. I'm sure she was pregnant. And I said, no, I couldn't afford. I was scared. I had a mortgage at this stage. And I was like, I've got to pay the mortgage every month. I turned pro. And then that was it, mate.
So the first time you went down in your boxing career, a flash knockdown, Bob had yourself.
There was one before that.
Was it really?
One against a guy called Jevgengas Andrejevs. He was a southpaw journeyman. But you know what? No, it wasn't, because it wasn't a knockdown. It was more of a balance. So the first proper knockdown, you're right, does come against Bob Adjasafe.
A little short, little backhand, and he kind of did like a little shove. I mean, you were kind of wobbly, but you can give you a little shove to kind of make sure.
Straight down. I was southpaw facing orthodox. I've come square on, boom, straight down the pipe, just sits me down.
Yeah.
At that stage, I always knew I was vulnerable, making life heavyweights. I'm not going to lie.
So well, I'm going to come on to that because people I want the non-boxing listeners to this to really understand what it's like. You know, I want people to understand that people that saw you against Stevenson, people would have thought he's never going to become like a world champion. At the way above, we can't take a shot from Stevenson. But it's not about that, is it? It's not making weight is probably. I had a lot of injuries in my career. My eye eventually went, which ended my career. But even prior to the eye, I had 3 shoulder dislocations, 4 kidney surgeries, and a lot of that I think is because I kept making middleweight. And I was rinsing my body in training camps. When I got to the fight, I was sparked.
Breaks on you. Right, spot on. I had that with light heavyweight. You're absolutely spot on. Your body betrays you when you need it, when you need it the most. And if you keep punishing your body, detracting from your body, brutalising it. Basically, I used to cannibalise my own body. I would ease away my body.
Yeah. That's a great way of putting it. That's literally, that's what we do, right? To boil down from wherever to make whatever. That's what you cannibalise your own body.
Fighters are the best lies in the world because we lie to ourselves. We kid the bollocks of ourselves. We tell ourselves, walking to press conferences, and let me tell you, at a press conference, no one feels fucking great, especially when you're the week of a fight. No one's...
Your mouth's dry, you feel tired, haven't eaten a meal probably in 4 weeks.
And we get there, feel great, best camp I've ever had. Probably just broke my hand in the last sparring session. I've got a banging fucking headache. My weight's not coming down the way I needed to.
But next fight.
Yeah, and you sit there going, best camp I've ever had. I can't wait a while. You're going to see the best display ever. This is going to be the best me. I'm this and that. You might as well just fucking, if you stuck a lie detector on them while they're talking, then press conference, just like ding, 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 ding. But that's what we do as fighters. We hide it, and we lie to each other. We lie to ourselves. To be fair, it was only at the end, the last 3 fights, I started telling the truth. Literally at press conference, and I remember Eddie saying, "You can't say that. Don't say that. That's not good." And I'd be like, "It's the truth." My head's all over. When I asked you that, I was like, "My head's all over the place. Don't really want to be here." I don't want to fight. Anyway, can't say that. Don't say that. We're fucked, absolutely fucked. If you say something like that, the fucking mental health will be on to us. We were fucking locked up. But it's just, through all your career, we just lie, mate, and we just bullshit everyone. And that, as I say, that's what we do. But it's part and parcel of it. Making light heavyweight was fucking killer.
Yeah.
When I got to 30, that's when my body physically changed.
And it does. Well, I remember I'd have been 21, 22 on the GB squads, training the spinal cord for Foch. You'd come down and spar quite a lot as well. And I was talking to Foch, and Foch was like maybe 32. And we were in the locker room, in the change room, and I was talking to him, and he said, mate, you get to 30, mate, everything's just hard. He says, it's like 28, 29, you're fine. 30, everything's hard. I thought, shut up, Foch, mate, what the fuck are you talking about? I got to 30, fucking hell, and I thought, that big nose bastard was telling the truth.
It's just, shit just changed when you get to there. I could, but as soon as I hit 30, I couldn't make light heavyweight safely anymore. I was barely making it safely when I was 29, but at 30, it was now unsafe because the last 4 pounds weren't coming off.
And it becomes unsafe. You said, so you did a great podcast with Tris Dixon's Boxing Life Stories. I'd recommend anybody go and listen to it. He asked you if you felt like you were going to become a world champion, even when you were back training with Arnie Final at the very beginning. And your response was, I already felt like I was a world champion. I love that. Where did that belief come from? Is it the kids again? You thought you had no choice but to become a world champion?
I've got no choice. If anything other than a world title, I've failed, and I can't live with myself.
But did you act like I didn't, man. I was a walking, talking, uncrowned Olympic champion when I was an amateur. I was a walking, talking, uncrowned world champion in my 6 years as a pro, but only 2 active years as a pro. I felt like I was a world champion. I just haven't been crowned yet. That's how I genuinely felt. Is that how you felt?
I knew. It gets to the stage after certain fights, like I knew with the Adonis Stevens fight, that was the first fight that it crushed me the most. After the Cleverly one, I didn't think I lost. So I was like, I brushed myself off. Yeah. I'm sound. I don't think he beat me, and I still don't. But they're like, well, you have lost on paper. And I'm like, it was sound. I can live with that. After the Adonis Stevens one, that crushed me.
With the Cleverly fight, you said you were pissing blood for a week after the fight. Was that because of the body shots?
The body shots and the way
making.
Yeah. Because I was pissed. Me, when I pissed straight out the way, it was that dark. It looked like but I was
honey, right? It's like when you're with that dehydrated, your piss, it's orange. It's like a blacky, reddy orange, isn't it?
But I was pissing blood after that fight. Yeah. That's the first time it ever happened to me. I think got in the shower and he'd landed numerous body shots on pissing blood, mate. It was nice.
So, mate, going to the Stevenson world title fight, I mean, you've lost, obviously 41 against Cleverly, but you've obviously on the record, you've lost the fight. Now fighting Stevenson, your wage range, you're fucked, you know. Where was your head at walking to the ring? Were you confident in your ability?
No, I hadn't seen my wife for 5 weeks, and the first time I seen her 5 weeks was as I walked to the ring. She's in tears. I just see tears running down the side of her face. And she's right by the outer ring. And then I walked to the ring and that was it.
Why was she crying?
Just worried. I think she'd been getting abused when she arrived there from fans of Steelers and stuff like that. Yeah, just nasty shit, I think. I don't know why. We've never spoke about her or what went on, but she was not treated nicely. Yeah, and walking to the ring for Stevenson, I knew I had 1 round in me. 1 decent round, because fucking me, the weight killed me.
Was that the first time you'd walked to a ring as a pro not confident?
It's not that I weren't confident. I thought that 1 round was going to be enough. I had the crazy, insane belief in myself. I just need 1 round against you, lad, and I'll take your fucking head off. But then reality hits, and he was so hard to it. He was fucking...
Was he a good fighter?
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Just better than me, mate.
What was good about him? Why was he good?
His judgment at distance was perfect.
And stuff like that, you can't, stuff like that, it's hard to win. Even the biggest boxing fan watching tape, you can't see that, can you? It takes you to be in the ring getting hit with those shots so you realise how good somebody is, right?
Same with Usyk. It's just he keeps a long stance with long legs as well, so he doesn't necessarily jump or step back far. It's just a little lean, and that keeps his distance there. And this distance away all the time is so hard to navigate my way to get close to him. The 1 round that I do, he hit me in the 3rd round on the forehead, and he hit me so hard I thought he crushed my skull. I heard a crunch and a crack. And as it landed, and I thought, he's had just crushed my fucking skull.
He banged.
Or that was his pan breaking on my forehead. So I'll never know to this day what it was. Obviously, my brain's kind of, me skull's fine, but he hit really hard.
Did he hit hard, or was it because you were just so fucked at the weight that the power hurt?
I never blame me. I lost.
But like, you took punches from David Haye. David Haye punches Arden Stevenson,
David's
right?
the hardest puncher I've ever faced.
Yeah.
David Haye is the hardest puncher I've ever faced. You just, every punch David throws, even David's jabs are rockets. Yeah. He's so strong. With Adonis Stevenson, it was like, they were heavy thuds, but mate, they went through you. And don't get me wrong, of course doesn't help that I was killing myself to make weight. If I fight him at cruiserweight, I have no problem in saying I knock him spark. Oh. Everyone's a world champion when they're talking. You go to America, go to American boxing gyms, you're around dozens of world champions. That's what you think, so when you're listening to them. But how many actual world champions is he in there? Fucking none. But they all sound like world champions.
Yeah. Did you ever, this is something I struggled with. For a long time, I was filled with like bitterness and jealousy, and I know like being jealous of somebody or being bitter is like eating shit and expecting them to taste it. It's only affecting you, right? And I knew that, but I still couldn't just shake out the, oh, it's not fair, why me? Did you ever experience any bitterness because like friends of yours at the Gale, they went to Olympic Games, won a gold medal, twice a bronze medal at the Olympic Games, all these guys now in the pros have become a world champion and loads of money, and you kept falling down at these hurdles. Like, did you feel jealous at all?
I never felt that, purely based on the fact of I always blame myself. So I suppose I might have felt that if I wasn't harsh on myself, but I've always been my own worst critic. So I blame myself.
Yeah.
So no, I've never ever been a jealous person. Or why do I get this and he gets that? No. You didn't get it because you didn't work hard enough. The only way I look at it. So I never felt, and I've never, like I always struggled. There's lads who I've grown up with, lads who I've boxed in gyms with, lads who I've boxed around the world with, and I don't speak to them no more because they've slated me or slagged me behind my back. Now, why would you slate and slag me when you know I've never been given anything? I've worked for every single thing I've got. So things like hate and stuff like that does creep in, and I can't grasp and understand jealousy. Like me missus knows that I'm just not a jealous person. It's just not in me. I don't know why, but jealousy is not one of my things.
That's a great trait. That's a really great trait.
So,
and I like the fact you said, the fact that like you don't become the way because everything's down to you.
Yeah, it is. Everything, me whole surrounding, I'm a product of my environment. Everything that I've got around me is because I was willing to work for it. It's not a coincidence why I have some of the nicer things that I have. It's not a coincidence why I got to be a world champion or won the British Commonwealth European. It's not a coincidence. I was willing to put my ass on the line. Now, there's some things that I haven't got. I haven't got a fucking jet. I haven't got a helicopter. Do you know why? Because I didn't take the risks that I should have took. I should have gambled with the money that I made, but I could have took more risks. I could grow my wealth even more if I take more risks, but I'm not willing to because I've achieved everything I wanted to. I've done it now. I'm happy. So there's always more out there, but I just never get why anyone looks at anyone else for satisfaction or clarification of I've got this or I've got that. Why look at anybody else? Everyone's different. Everyone, and I see people going like, well, I'm struggling, he's struggled and I've struggled. Well, no, because everyone struggles every single day. No one lives a perfect life. We all struggle. It's just how we cope with ourselves and how we get through certain times and instants in our lives. One thing you should look at in life, no one gives you nothing for nothing. No one. Only a fucking, okay, we get the odd freak who wins the lottery, but let me tell you, mate, he still had to go to the shop and put that fucking ticket on. He didn't win it by fluke, he won it because he took a chance. No one gives you nothing in life for nothing, and you should never be envious of people because he's got that or she's got this or he betrays this in his life or he betrays that. When you see the likes of social media and Instagram, you see these fellas, they put a watch on with a card on and I've got this in my bank or this in my house. Let a camera follow him for 24 hours in a day and let me show you the imperfections in his life as well. I could wake up every single day, and I've said this numerous times, and show you a fucking amazing life. Wake up, show you me car, show you me watch, show you me wife, show me me kids all laughing and joking around the house, show you fucking food getting cooked, show you just all the nice things I've got. But then if that camera follows me for 24 hours a day, I've got 2 kids at home right now who are sick. They've got this vomiting virus bug thing. They're fucking spewing the guts up all over the place. I've got a baby who keeps shitting his pants. Every time he shits his pants, it's like water and it's coming down the back and we're trying to clean it up, scrub the carpet while we're doing it. I've got the 13-year-old arguing with the 16-year-old. The two of them are knocking fuck out of each other upstairs. I'm trying to control the 9-year-old because he wants to join in with them. Now, I've got numerous phone calls. I need to do this podcast. I need to do that thing. I've got to be down for the zone. I've got to do something for Eddie. I've got to do this. I'm asking Eddie to do something for me. I've got fighters who manage calling me. Now, that sounds pretty fucking chaotic if you ask me. That's only the last couple of hours. Now, I've just told you, I could make my life look perfect. I could do a video, follow myself out the house, get dressed, put my stuff on, put my nice watch on, get in a nice car, drive off, drive here, video myself doing a little clip to this and go, what? Doesn't he live the best life? That's not reality. That's not real. It's a load of bullshit. Why would anyone be jealous of what I've got? I've worked me bollocks off for what I've got. If you've seen the shit I've gone through to get it, you wouldn't be jealous. You know what? You wouldn't do it because you couldn't. Because you're not willing to persevere through the shit I've persevered through. No one gets nothing for nothing.
Mate, fucking hell. That's unbelievable. That's unbelievable. A few more things I want to talk about, mate, because there's some sexy stuff we haven't spoken about yet. So you're the Masterneck fight, the European title fight. So when I hurt my eye, I was struggling. I was in a real dark place. And the reason why I want to do this podcast actually because I was looking for inspiration everywhere. Okay. Because I had 9 surgeries on my eye over 3 years. I spent every penny I ever earned in boxing. I spent on operations. I remortgaged my house. I sold my car. It was brutal. And every surgery I had, things was getting worse and worse. And I was like, and the light at the end of the tunnel was getting further and further. And I wanted to give up every single day. But I didn't. I kept going and I kept going and I kept going. And I needed to hear inspiring stories, like this, like yours, to kind of keep me going. I needed all the help in the world. And then I started doing a vision board, like a life board, right? And what I was doing, and it's a bit cheesy, but listen, at the time I was doing these mad vision therapy exercises. I was waking up at 4 a.m. doing this, it was nuts. I learned Japanese, long story, right? But
whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes, right? Whatever it takes. And I did this vision board, right? And I basically, I printed off pictures of people that inspired me and things that I wanted, right? I had, you'll know the picture, Sugar Leonard with the green belt, right? Old school green WCB belt over his head, WBC belt over his head. I had all the different belts I wanted to have, the British title belt, the Commonwealth belt, the WBA belt, and the European belt, right? So it's not there anymore. But up until when I retired a couple of years ago, there's a photo of you. Well, not of you, but of you in my bedroom. Because what I did, I cut your head out. That's the Masterneck fight. You got the blue European belt above your head after the fight. And I cut your face off and put my face on. So my head was on your body.
Swap bodies. Cracking job.
And mate, every single day I woke up and I looked at that, right? And I had my big frame that I made, and of all the belts I wanted to get, and the European belt was one of them. And I tried it, man. And unfortunately I couldn't get back in the rings. My eye was damaged too much. But yeah, a little story, that European fight, I've seen that picture more times than you've seen that picture. It's just my head, not your head.
It was a really hard fight that night, and it's mad. Me both eyeballs got scratched that night. So I've had deep scratches on both eyeballs, and he removes the film, comes off every so often. So I can't imagine the pain you felt, but I felt a little bit, because that pain in your eyes is the worst pain. It feels like it's just a wound open. It's the eye is the only thing that never fully heals. Just the film goes back over it. I think it's described as cornea or something. I don't know. You'll know all the names. But when that film comes off, for that, after the Masterneck fight, there's a picture of me sitting in the hotel lobby, and this eye can just remain like this, and this eye's closed over, and my 2 hands were fucked as well. I damaged both hands against Masterneck, such a hard bastard. Yeah, you know what? You look at it, and yes, they're good victories, but you should have some comfort in yourself. You was easy good enough to win them titles. It's just that it's been taken away from you.
Yeah, listen, mate, life happens.
Should have some, it does, but without it, I can 100% guarantee for a fact, mate, you was technically a brilliant, brilliant fighter, and so fit and so dedicated, so you would have walked.
Thank you, man. It's very kind. So this whole story, these last couple of hours, have all been built up to one big crescendo. You fought Makabu. How good was he?
Oh, very strong. Very, very, very strong. Dangerous I knew from studying him, so I was always diligent in the way I prepared and study. I watched him knock heavyweights out. He was dangerous, mate. Very, very heavy. And I knew I had to get rid of him in the first 6. He's only someone, he starts off slow and he gets stronger as the fight goes.
He builds in.
Yeah, he just gets stronger and stronger. So I knew I had to get rid of him. Knew it. And took risks. First round to come out. Once again, I said to you earlier on, I've only ever nervous for 2 fights in my life. That first one we in the beach, and this second one, mate, I was shitting it. I was literally shitting it. We walking the ring, major nerves. In the dressing room, fucking panics. And then I just get in. He cops. I'm pissing the first round. I've studied him. I've watched him. He's doing everything that I've studied. Everything's going perfect to the T. I'm copping him with every shot. I pull his right hand down, smack him on the temple. He goes back, and then it gets to about the last 10 seconds of round 1. I'm trying to jump on him to land this right up the body. As I'm throwing out the jab, I've thrown out the jab, and I've seen he pulls back slightly, telegraphs a little bit, and as he pulls back, I do this and pull back. This punch just hits me.
Backhand.
Both straight left hand. It hits me on the nose, but then crunches and snaps my nose, but travels down and pushes me shin back like this. And I just go bump. My legs just go. My legs completely fall apart, and then I roll backwards, do a backwards roll over, and it literally, I've heard all of them screaming for me, cheering me on to get the stoppage, and then the whole place, thousands and thousands of people in that stadium just went dead.
Is there silence?
And I can hear the referee counting. Yeah. And when the referee's going 2, and I'm going, I can, and I'm once again start talking to myself. I'm walking around the ring, watch it back on YouTube or whatever. I'm going, can't believe he fucking dropped me. Cannot believe that. 4, and I'm going, move out the fucking way, I'm going to kill him. 5, and I'm going, fuck's sake, I've been on the floor.
Were you embarrassed? What is that? Like, is it, are you embarrassed?
Are you hurt? No, I was hurt, definitely. I mean,
wobbly legs.
No, my legs were so strong. I was hurt because I felt the power of the punch. But I want
explain what being hurt means as a boxer, because if a non-boxing fan listening to this, they might think hurt like when you bang your elbow, and that hurt. Why does hurt mean as
so? I've been dropped numerous times in my career. I've never been kept on the floor for 10 seconds. I've been dropped and been down, been saved on my feet. Being hurt is like, so Over McKenzie hit me the first time. He hit me so hard I go flat on my face. I didn't see the punch. The only thing I remember is standing there, and then the next thing, I'm on the floor and looking at my hands. So it doesn't hurt, it's in a prick on your leg. Like I said, my coach pinched me before, that hurts. This hurt is like, fuck, how did that happen? It's not like you go, clench your chin and go on, hit me. It's not, you don't feel, you just don't see it. Doesn't go. The one that puts you on the floor, you don't see and you do not feel. When that happened with Makabu, I was just like, you idiot, I can't believe you fell for this. You fucking can't. So to myself, go back to the corners of Dave Caldwell. And then I've got a little man in front of me. He's this big, he's baldy, he's got the worst accent.
Hey, baldy.
Sheffield. You got greedy. You got fucking greedy. And I was like, fucking greedy. I was fat fucking, when I was a kid, I know what greed's all about. And I just thought, I've got to get rid of this guy. Second round, I don't remember anything that's all about it. I don't even, I thought, when I went back to the dressing room, I thought to knock him out in the second. I was completely concussed from the first round. So I don't remember anything from round 2 because I have to watch it on telly. Third round, I remember wobbling him with the left hook in the corner. I counted him, I drew him in. So my plan B was, if I can't get rid of him by pressing him, draw him in, hit him, then finish him off. So I resorted to plan B straight away in round 3. And as I've drew him in, I've gave him confidence. I let the jab land on me. The jab was hitting me just here, just short of me chin. Jab hits me there, jab hits me there again. He steps in. As he steps in, I've come across, I've gone bang, returned the right hand, but I've hit him on the chest. And as I've hit him on the chest, it squared him up. As I've squared him, went whack with a short left hook. And he's got a good poker face in London Makabu, but he backed up straight away. He didn't show me any emotion in his face. It's just a minute it clipped him on the chin, he backed up, and he never backs up that quick. I thought, right, you felt it straight away. Run after him, chase him, and throwing combinations, head and body. They're landing, but none of them have had that effect that short little left hook had. I've got him to the ropes, now I need him to trade. We'd studied this, we'd watched him, me and Dave had gone over and over it in the game plan. Right hand, drop your shoulder, load the left leg, come back with the left hook. As I've thrown, I've got him on the ropes, I've gone bang, bang, 2 body shots, he's made the noise. Thrown another jabs and then missing. As I've thrown the right hand, it's come over his shoulder and missed. And he's thrown that lazy, banked on and throwing lazy jabs. He's a relaxed fighter, so he likes to do everything at his own pace. So as I've thrown the right hand, it's missed. He's made the cardinal sin. He's just dropped the right hand like this. And because I'm over this side of him here, I've dropped with all my weight onto my left leg, loaded my left leg. The left hook comes across, boom, and it hits him on the chin. He was asleep.
Gone, mate.
He's out. And don't get me wrong, Victor Lachlan tries to stop me, but as he's dropping to the floor head first, I've hit him 2 more times on the back of the head. I've got to make sure, mate, because this is my moment.
He was like a tree, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He went down a tree.
He just
What a fun. And that, like, as I said, like everything, you've just described it perfectly. Because I watched it again last night, watched it at the time of it happening. And you've got a great way of articulating what happened. And like that shot right on the chin, his head done the snap thing, his body was just gone. And what was great, it wasn't like, I'm glad that you worked on that specific punch. It just shows that like hard work pays off. It wasn't like a shut your eyes and a swing.
We knew, drop you all the way to the left leg and then fire it, come right back through. And like I said, I knew how good he was, I knew how dangerous he was. The fact that he's world champion now speaks volumes. I already knew what he's about, but that shot means it would have knocked anybody out. Anybody. It didn't matter. I suppose the only thing I look back on and think, oh, nothing, I just have fun, I just smile. That moment was just the greatest moment of my whole career. Everything came into place. All the shit I'd spoke over the years, all the nonsense I'd spoke, all the bullshit, he's full of shit. It all gets wiped at that moment because I've achieved everything then.
Yeah.
I've then fulfilled my goals, my dreams. All them arguments about the people in the past that, oh, you only beat yourself, you couldn't even beat him, you couldn't do this, all them arguments back on myself all the way. It comes true at that moment.
How does that feel?
I couldn't put it into words.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the only time I've ever been. I've got no words for that. What I felt that night, I'll never, ever feel ever again. It just made all them nights worth it. Them months of being away from home, leaving me kids. I'm the most selfish person in the world when I need to achieve something. Well, when I needed to achieve that, I was the most selfish man in the world. I had 3 kids and would just pack up and leave. I'm going to camp. Kid's birthday doesn't matter. I'm training for the fight of my life. It did. I was selfish, mate, which is hard to say, but it's just being honest.
Of course.
I didn't win a world title for my kids. I didn't win a world title for my wife. I won it for me. I had that dream at 15 years old to be a WBC world champion. They didn't have that dream. I had it. And I put everything before them, which is hard to say, but it's honesty. And that's the best way to be. I'm honest about it. I try and make it up to them every single day now with what I'm doing with them now. And the lives that they lead and the things that they have, yes, that goes a long way to securing it, but ultimately, I've still been that selfish fucker who would leave on a drop of a hat, who would put his career before anything in life. But it's why I got where I got, mate. I couldn't have got there any other way. So thankfully, it worked out in the end.
Mate, on that note, fucking hell, it's been a great chat. I really thoroughly enjoyed it. I had a little note here to finish off with, mate. You got a beautiful wife. You got 4 kids that even though they're embarrassed of you, I'm sure they look up to you and they adore you.
And none of it is the greatest success. As I say, what I'm creating in the 4 walls in the house, that will be the greatest success that I'll have. If I can do a decent job with my kids and they crack on, what I'd give to get one of my kids to uni, that would be a great achievement and success. If I can get one on the golf course, mate.
Yeah.
And I'll be over the moon. So yeah, I haven't got much goals in life, but just keep them happy. I just want happy kids. I'm not expecting rocket scientists because if they've got my brains, they're fucked. They've thankfully got their mother's looks. That's a good thing. So they'll be good. And yeah, just happiness and the kids happy and life's a success.
Wow. What a guy. Such an inspirational man. Tony Bellew, thank you so much, mate. He said so many things in that podcast that stuck with me. One direct quote I loved, and I wrote it down. Why would anyone be jealous of what I've got? I've worked my bollocks off. You wouldn't be jealous. You wouldn't do it because you couldn't, because you're not willing to persevere through the shit I've persevered through. No one gets nothing for nothing. And I make it right. In this life, you don't get given anything. You don't get what you want, You get what you're willing to work for. That's my experience anyway. And I'm so proud and thankful for Tony to come on and sharing his experiences today. So thank you so much for listening to the first ever episode of Getting Back Up. This is going to be a weekly thing, a weekly podcast to inspire you, to help you go after and achieve your dreams. Please like, share, and subscribe. If you think anyone's going to like this podcast, please send it to them. If you think anyone can benefit from being educated by the great Tony Bellew, please send it to him and share this podcast. It's really going to help this podcast grow to help as many people as possible. Next week, I've got Sam Ward on the podcast, GB hockey sensation that went blind in his eye after getting a hockey ball smashed in his eye during an Olympic qualifier. Went through the surgeries and he made it back to become an Olympian. It's a ridiculously inspiring story. Please tune in next week to hear that, and every single week thereafter. I personally want to say a massive thank you to the two legends I work with on a daily basis, Lawrence and Paul at OD Films. Thank you, boys, for producing this podcast. You're both legends. Check out their link in the description. Now, if you know someone with an unbelievably inspiring story that deserves to come on the podcast and share their story to help others, then please reach out to me on Instagram at Anthony Ogogo and at Get Back Up Pod, and on TikTok at Anthony Ogogo. Remember, the great Nelson Mandela once said, "Do not judge me by my successes. Judge me by how many times I fell down and got back up again." Always get back up. Always stay in the fight. And I'll see you next week.